Hey Chris and Anita, this is a video overview for your bathroom proposal. So starting off with a floor plan, we have the shower sketched down in this lower corner where the tub currently is, and we would be able to fit a 72-inch by 42-inch shower. That is the maximum size that we'd be able to go without having a smaller entry into the bathroom. We'd be positioning the shower head on this exterior wall, so accordingly we'd build that wall out with a 2x4 structure. And then I have the 2x6 by 8 foot tall wall that you recommended. This wall that we build for the exterior wall would be the same height, so that'd just be one surface flat across the top. And then for the opening into the shower, it would be a walk-in shower, so we would have a threshold with a quartz top and then a 26-inch opening. We'd also have a quartz top for the pony wall. 42 inches is my favorite height for pony walls, a little bit less, shorter than 4 feet, kind of opens it up a little bit more. And then the glass would extend from the top of the quartz up to the 8-foot shower height. So the rest of the tile around the shower would also be 8 foot tall. And then for the doors, we would be putting in a 30-inch soft close pocket door over here, as well as replacing the closet door and the water closet door. These would both be 2-panel smooth doors, shaker style. We'd also be moving and reframing this wall about 1 foot. That would give us room for a 30-inch cabinet plus filler pieces on each side. And this slide shows a visual of that linen cabinet in the space. It's not a perfect representation, so I'll try to explain the differences that we would do. One of those differences is the panel style. This in the visual kind of looks like a shaker panel style, but we would be able to match that large bevel panel style that you have in your kitchen. And these are solid maple cabinets. The linen closet itself would be about 7.5 feet tall. It does include soft close drawers and hinges. And then I like to price the cabinet box out separately in these situations, because this is one of those things where there might be a solution that's acceptable to you that is available at an off-the-shelf store. For example, Menards or Home Depot or even Wayfair might have another cabinet that meets your criteria that you could find for $1,500. And if that's the case, then you're welcome to purchase that directly. We would take this off of the bid price, and then I would still, for that price, be able to add in the filler material as well as the crown molding to make it look built in. This cabinet itself is coming from a semi-custom supplier. That's the best way I can keep the cost down. So they do only have one option for this panel style, and that is this light gray color. Neither of these pictures is a good representation for it, that color. I do have a sample of this panel that I can show you. If you are wanting to go with a different color, then we could paint it. That would be an additional $580. And then additionally for the soffit, we talked about doing this separate soffit above the cabinet itself and then stepping back out to the current ceiling, so the wall is flush with this wall above. However, as I was thinking about this and just looking at the visual, I think in this situation it'll be better to extend this soffit and this wall all the way up to the 12-foot ceiling. It's really not any more expensive for us to do that since we're already moving this wall and doing some framing, so I already included that bid in the bid. So picture it more like this picture where this wall would extend all the way up to the top ceiling. Additionally, I would be able to make this corner line up very closely or directly in line with the front edge of the crown molding. So that's the best way that we can do this to really make it look intentional and built in. And then for the tile, I left the material cost out of the bid. I do this because personally I think it's easier for you to calculate and compare if I just list the square footage that I need. That way you know if you're looking at tile that's $5 a square foot, for example, you can just multiply it by the square footage and it's easy to get a number. So starting with the shower walls, I did specify a 12-inch by 24-inch tile. That's what we talked about. That's what I think looks best in this space and this size of shower. So we would be able to do any standard pattern that is either a straight grid or standard offset. So sorry, there's a little bit of a typo there, but any standard offset, whether that's a 50% offset, 30% offset, 20% offset, you do it vertically, horizontally, any of that we can do for our standard price. Something like herringbone is of course going to be more expensive. And then this is the tile quantity that we need for the shower walls. And then for the shower floor, we could do anything that is either 6" by 6" or smaller. You really don't want to go bigger than that for tile because you need to maintain traction. But we could also do like the penny mosaic tile or anything, as long as it comes in a mosaic sheet that's roughly 12" by 12" rather than hand set mosaic. And then for the pattern, anything that's a grid, again, either installing sheets or straight square tile. For the quantity, I've got the square footage listed. And then for the floor, for the rest of the bathroom, I priced it for any of these sizes would all be acceptable for us. If you wanted to go with something like a large plank, I'd price that a little bit higher, but it sounded like you were leaning towards doing 12 by 24 as well. Same thing for the shower walls. We could do any of the standard patterns. And then I've got square footage listed as well. I assumed doing standard 1/8" grout lines. We talked about doing the Schluter Aquatic Profile, so I included that material in the bid. And then for the where you source the tile, I highly recommend getting it from Doll Tile. They're a wholesale provider that I purchased from. They're also the manufacturer. They have a showroom and a designer. Her name's Kim, so I typically always have clients just meet with her. And if you wanted to source your tile from somewhere else, like Floor and Decor or the Tile Shop or anywhere else, you're welcome to do that. My warning is you just don't ever always know the quality of the tile you're going to get at some of those places since they're not straight from the manufacturer. So I have ran into issues with tile that's warped or doesn't have a really tight control on their tolerances when I buy from anyone besides Doll Tile. For the tile itself, if you go to Doll Tile and meet with Kim, she'll be able to share directly my contractor prices with you. So that's where most of this, you're probably going to be getting tile in the $3 to $4 per square foot range. You might have other contractors that list an allowance that's much higher than that. But I don't mark up any of my materials, so you're able to just get directly at my contractor pricing if you go to Doll Tile. And then for the shower base, we have a couple different options. The first option is to do a standard tile shower base. That's the baseline price that is in the bid. And then option B would be this high-end solid surface shower base. So it's a product by MTI. It's called Aquabella Delgada. Again, same size, but this is a solid composite stone base. I really like this. It is a upcharge. It's a pretty expensive base itself, but it is quicker for us to install. So it's just about $580 more to the bid price. There are samples available at a showroom, Kitchen and Bath and Briggs. It's off of roughly Stringline and College. And then additionally, there's a third option. This is also a solid surface base, just a little bit less high end. It's about half the cost. So this would actually be a reduction in the total bid price by $320. And then they have less colors available. White is what this is priced off of. You can just view the other colors and the difference in price that they have. It's actually available at Home Depot. And then for the heated floor, we always install the Schluter Dytra heat system. We'll run it everywhere besides underneath the cabinets, and the membrane, cable, dedicated circuit, and breaker are all included in this bid. One thing I did not include in the bid is the thermostat itself. The main reason for that is because the pricing that's on Amazon is actually just as good as what I can get through all of my contractor accounts. So this is something where I just leave it up to you to look at the different options that are available on Amazon, and you can purchase it directly. These are two of the models that I install the most frequently. And then for the one additional option for the heated floor is we can extend that into the shower if you decide that you want to go with the tile shower base. There would be an additional upcharge of $495 for that. It's a fairly subtle upgrade, but one benefit to it is it does help the tile dry out more quickly in the shower if you have heat running to it. And then for the quartz, I did include the labor and the material in the bid. The product I quoted is Calicata Rusta. It's $69 per square foot. My supplier is Casey Granite and Cabinetry. And if you go there, this is the pricing that you can compare against. So they have other stuff in this price range. They also have stuff in the $75 price range and up. And this is a sample of what that quartz looks like pictures never do quartz justice, but this one's mostly an off-white with some warm veining throughout it. So I think it's a good choice based on the color palette that we talked about. So this bid came to a total of $24,800. Below, I did list in detail the things that I included in this price. And then on the right hand, we'll get to the things that I did not include because either you're purchasing or you're planning to install. I don't normally go into this detail on this last slide. Normally I do more turnkey projects, but since you're providing some of the materials and doing some of the labor, I wanted to be as transparent and as communicative as I could, even if I'm repeating some stuff. So starting off with the labor and the materials that we're doing, it's all of the demo work, including those cabinets that you want to get rid of. We would handle all the disposal and dump fees. I do own a dump trailer personally, so I bring the dump trailer just on the days that we need it. It's an advantage to you guys. You don't have to deal with a dumpster just sitting on your driveway for weeks on end. And then as far as material or framing goes, we'll handle that as well as all the rough-in plumbing, rough-in electrical, the heated floor. We'll include the dedicated circuit and breaker and everything that goes with that. We do all of the sheetrock mudding and blending the knockdown texture in the ceiling where needed. All of the shower waterproofing, installation of the linen cabinet, as well as the material for the linen cabinet. All of the doors that we talked about are included. The trim, so that taller baseboard that you showed me, I included that in the bid. We'll reuse casing where it makes sense, but we'll replace anything that needs replaced. And then for painting, sorry, this is small, and I'll send you the PDF, so you might need to zoom in on that. But for the painting, I included repainting all of the bathroom walls a different color. I included painting the bedroom wall where the door is, where we replace that pocket door and open it up. And then I included painting all of the trim in the bathroom. All of the grout caulk tile trim, the material and installation is all included, as well as the quartz, the shower glass. One thing I didn't talk about on the shower glass is I always include as a standard option a coating that they apply. For this size of glass, it's only about $100 more, but it's called diamond fusion coating. It's from the glass manufacturer, and it provides extra protection against water stains or spotting. It just adds that micro finish to where it really repels water and makes it easier to maintain long term. And then as far as labor for the things that are included in the bid but wouldn't be materials included in the bid, that would be the tile. We would be able to pick it up from Doll Tile if you purchase from them and then do the installation. We'd be able to set your vanity in place for you as well as install that chandelier. Now I'll fly through the stuff that you're planning on doing just to make sure that we're on the same page, but you'd install the final plumbing fixtures, install any of the outlets or switches that you want. Again, everything would be roughed in, but you do that final installation. You'd set the mirrors, do the thermostat wiring in, and then any of the doorknobs and levers, as well as supply the material for the chandelier, tile, vanity, and vanity top, and the linen closet hardware. So that's like the knobs and pulls that are on the drawers and cabinet doors. Okay, so that was a lot, but just moving on to the last slide. This is just kind of the next steps. If you guys decide you want to move forward, I'd send over a contract that you can review and then sign on DocuSign. We do collect a 50% deposit, and then just 50% is due upon completion. We'd start all the material ordering as soon as you guys have your final selections in place. And then typically after you have your selections, my current lead time is 5 to 9 weeks from the start date. That is currently changing. I've had a couple projects get accepted just in the last couple days, but I believe we would definitely be able to meet that May, June timeframe that you're looking at. And then this overall duration of this project would be less than 3 weeks on site. I know we talked about it last time I was there, but that is an advantage of us, is my employees are all direct employees. The only exception to that is the quartz supplier as well as the glass supplier. The quartz we would be installing ourselves, so no issues there. The glass supplier would be about 2 weeks after we finish our final work. So shower's fully usable in that meantime, but just so you know, I plan on being on site for a little bit less than 3 weeks. So that is everything. Let me know what you guys think. I'd be happy to answer any questions, talk through any details, bring you samples if helpful for the shower base or any other materials that you're interested in looking at. And just let me know what you guys are thinking. Thank you.